Hi everyone, it's been a little while since I've done a reading vlog, so I thought I would take you along on my reading journey for at least a day and potentially the next couple days. There is kind of a time limit on this reading vlog because it's a Love Island themed reading vlog and I want to get it uploaded before the final. I did want to get going on this video much earlier than I have, but I was waiting for a pre-order to arrive. In fact, it was the pre-order that kind of prompted this whole reading vlog. I really wanted to read Yuande's new book. Yuande is one of my favorite Love Islanders of like all series, but my pre-order still hasn't arrived and I did think about cancelling the pre-order and just going down to a bookshop and buying a copy, but I have been assured that my pre-order is on the way. It's just very late. So unless it arrives like today or tomorrow, it's probably not going to be included in this reading vlog, which is a real shame. But I do have lots of other books to read. So this is Until I Met You by Amber Rose Gill, another one of my favourite Islanders. This is a proof copy. Thank you so much to Milton Boone for sending me this, but the finished book is now out. So if you fancy going and getting yourself a copy, you can. It's Milton Boone, so I'm expecting, you know, there's going to be some steamy romance in there. And with regards to other books that I want to read, so we have Not the Type by Camilla Thurlow. I've read this book before, so it will be a reread for me, so I'm hoping I can get through it quite quickly. And then I also have You Are Dope by Ovi Soko. I don't think it's going to take me too long to read that one. And then, I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm going to be reading Becoming Molly-mae. Well, I'm going to be listening to Becoming Molly-mae. So the 4 books I've mentioned so far, even though one of them I'm not going to get the chance to read probably, are all by Islanders that I really like. Molly-mae, less so, but hey, we're gonna give it a listen, see how we get on. I think it's only like a 5-hour audiobook and I'll probably listen to it on like at least 1.5 speed. And I'm sure Molly-mae would like to know what I'm doing with my 24 hours. And the first order of business is I have to clean the house. So I'm gonna pop Molly-mae on. While I do that, we'll report back with my thoughts.
Becoming Molly-mae, written and read by Molly-mae Haig.
Okay, so I've just finished cleaning the house and I've listened to a fair bit of the audiobook now. We're up to the point in Molly-mae's life where she has started to make money from Instagram and she's just like moved into this 900 quid a month flat in Manchester. And like, this woman just has a complete like lack of nuance and critical thinking skills. Like, look, it's not Molly's fault that she was like born into privilege. I was born into a significant amount of privilege. Many of us have a certain degree of significant privilege. I don't think she should be like blamed for having financial stability, for having supportive parents, but just like, and she doesn't need to apologize for it, but like just some awareness. Like, she'll be telling these stories about her upbringing and everything is framed as in like, look at what a hard worker I was, look at how different I was to everyone else, look at how I was always like pushing myself and working hard. And I'm not disputing that those things are incorrect. Like, it sounds like she definitely did work really hard, really savvy, was like ahead of the curve with a lot of things, but it's all framed around how great she is. Like, she does all of these different after school clubs, like she does Irish dancing, she goes swimming, she does like orchestra, she's auditioning for like theatre stuff, and it's all about just like what a go-getter she was and not that like the huge amount of privilege that is involved in her parents being able to like pay for these things or having the time to drive her to these things or having the petrol to put in their car to take her to these things. Her parents tell her that in order to be allowed to go out when she's 14, she needs to get a job. And again, Molly frames this as like, look at how I was pushed to work hard and made the most of the time that I had. There's no recognition that like some 14-year-olds need to get jobs to like put food in their mouths or like help pay the rent. And I don't necessarily think she needs to be like acknowledging her privilege at every point, but like don't frame it as in like you're the special chosen one. Also, she's so bitter about the fact that when she was going for theatre stuff, she never got like the main role. She got like roles in the chorus. Like, as soon as something is kind of like based off her talent and it transpires that she's not the most talented person, like her privilege could only get her so far, she's so bitter about the fact she's just not handed it like these main roles. Anyway, I don't want this to have a negative energy. I have finished cleaning the house now, so I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna go for a coffee. and we're going to read some of Amber Rose Gill's book because it seems like it'll be a lot more fun. So I read about 150 pages of this while I went and got my coffee. I'm having a nice time so far. It's about this woman called Samantha who, just before her friend's wedding, her boyfriend breaks up with her. So it's kind of put a spanner in the works with regards to like her plans for the wedding. She's now going to be going on her own instead of with her long-term boyfriend. But when she meets Roman, even though they don't get off to the best start, they kind of get off on the wrong foot. When she meets him, she realizes there may be a chance of a wedding holiday romance. The chemistry between them is good. I think Samantha's likable as a character. I think Roman's likable as a character. All of the kind of friends in their group have quite distinctive personalities, even though there's like quite a few of them. I think when there's a lot of characters in a friendship group, it can sometimes be tricky for me to keep track of like who's who, but they all feel really distinctive. There's not been as much steaminess as I thought there would be so far. I mean, I'm not even halfway through, so the best is probably yet to come. I have come back home briefly, but I am going to be going out again because I really fancy going around some charity shops, so I will be listening to the rest of the Molly-Mae book while I'm doing that. So I've just got in and I finished listening to the May audiobook while I was out charity shopping. I will show you what I got in a sec. I started to get a lot more value out of listening to the audiobook when Molly started talking about her experiences in Love Island. It was really interesting to get some of the kind of behind the scenes stuff from her, and also like a lot of the stuff that she had going on during that experience that you didn't necessarily get to see in the show. I also really appreciated her opening up about her health scares and her experiences of endometriosis, and also her experiences of cosmetic procedures, because that's not something that I have any sort of like real knowledge about, and I actually found that she had a lot more kind of sort of nuance and something thoughtful to contribute to a conversation compared to when she was talking about like growing up in her childhood. So yeah, I think it's safe to say like the second half of the book was not as annoying as the first half of the book. In terms of what I have left to do today, I've got to change my bedding and just kind of have a bit of a tidy up in my room generally. Obviously, like I cleaned the house and like the shared spaces earlier. Basically the way we do the cleaning in our house is like throughout the week we're all pretty tidy and clean up after ourselves anyway. But every week there's a different person that does like the big clean, and this week it was my week. So I've cleaned the house, and you know, while I'm in the cleaning mood, I'm going to change my bedding, have a hoover, dust my bookshelves. My dinner's in the oven, so while I'm doing all of that, that's cooking away. I would like to edit a YouTube video. By the time you're watching this video, the video that I'm going to be editing will probably already be uploaded, so I will link to that. I am gonna try edit that while I'm watching Love Island tonight. Oh my god, I didn't show you what I bought in the charity shops. Hold on. So I got this little like summery sundress because, you know, I'm just out here trying to ruin lives, okay? Super cute, floaty, it's a vibe. I also got this little check number. You can tell a Molly-Mae I am not, because I don't know how to be like displaying these clothes nicely. I mean, I would try them on for you, but like can't be arsed. But yeah, little check number. I think it's gonna be slightly tight on the old ties, but that's okay. And I got this little like fake leather skirt as well, which I'm hoping I'll like. I really like the color and I like it in theory. I think this is gonna look really good, but I'm not 100% on how the kind of skater skirt shape kind of sits on me. Anyways, that's the whole charity shop haul. I'm gonna now change my bedding.
Those hazard lights can't stop me. I just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky. Now with you, now with you.
Okay, so literally the next chapter that I read started to get steamy. Still isn't like full smut. I've read like another 100 pages. I'm to page 250 now. And there's been like the lead up to the steamy, which is hot, but then it kind of like fades to black. And I didn't think that's what a Mills and Boon book did. I thought that it was like full smut. But it's fine, I'm still having a great time. I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying all of the like dynamics between the different friendship groups, the couples. I'm enjoying exploring how in seemingly perfect relationships, things aren't exactly what they might seem from the outside perspective. Got about 100 pages left to go, but I do need to jump in the shower. But you don't get to see that bit. So Davide has just asked Ekin-Su to be exclusive, and I think we can agree that this has been a dead season of Love Island. Like, it's been the worst one so far. The format is like dying a death, and also just like the men in particular that they've had on this season, awful. Like, by far the most misogynistic season I've ever watched. But I digress for this one moment of absolute television gold, which is Davide making her a tiramisu. I'm sorry, but if like someone ever wants to ask me to be their girlfriend and they don't do it with a tiramisu, then I don't want it. I don't want it. Imagine a man making you a tiramisu. Do you know what? My standards aren't that high. I'll take a shot bought one. He asked her with a tiramisu that he'd made with his bare hands. So the next morning consisted of me working from home. I work from home every Monday, and then I go into the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm at home on Fridays. Then it was my lunch break, so I decided to make some Oreo cheesecake, because that's just what you do on your lunch break, right? I didn't film any of me making it, but here is some of the finished product. And then I decided to settle down and finish off until I met you. So quite a bit of time has passed and I haven't really given you any updates on my reading. I've been doing bits and pieces, I've been going to work, I've been going for dinner, but didn't vlog any of that. And I've been doing bits of reading, but just haven't really kept you in the loop. So I finished Amber's book and I continued to have a good time. Don't really have like too many further thoughts. Like, it did just feel like a standard good time romance, which I wasn't expecting anything more from it. The conflict that came in towards the end of the book didn't really seem to show us anything new about these characters. It was kind of just conflict for the sake of conflict at that point in the book, but that's, you know, that's fine. I kind of expect that from the genre. I had a good time. I have now started reading Camilla Thurlow's book, Not the Type, which is a reread for me. But it's actually a really good reread because there was lots of it that I hadn't really remembered, particularly about her job prior to Love Island when she was working with Halo. So it was good to have like a refresher on that. And also it was just a huge contrast to having just read or just listened to molly-mae's memoir. It's just two people who obviously come from privilege, but are able to acknowledge it in very different ways. I'm not too far into rereading it, maybe only 100 pages, but I'm hoping to actually finish it today. And then at last I had 2 packages arrive from Waterstones, so let's get those opened up. So as expected, Yewande's book has arrived. It is quite a slim book, it's just over 200 pages, so I definitely think I could get this read alongside the Camilla Thurlow book and alongside Obi Soko's book. But this is not something that I really want to like rush through. I really want to like make sure I'm kind of actively engaging with the content and what she's trying to get across in these essays. And in case you were wondering what was in the other Waterstones box, it was Gina Dawson's new book, Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Amazing cover, gorgeous edges, signed by the author. So excited. So with the rest of my day, I'm gonna go out, get a coffee, gotta make the most of that Pret subscription while it lasts, and then I'm going to go to the gym as well. So I did do both of those things, but I didn't film any of it. I don't know about you, but it always feels weird like filming in the gym, so I don't tend to do it. But I did take myself on a book shopping trip and did some reading on the tube on the way there. and had a little browse of the books there. They also had these really cute blind date with a book things, which I thought were really sweet. And also a really cool LGBTQ plus and feminism section as well. Okay, so here's the situation. I haven't finished reading the books yet. I don't know what I've been doing, but I've been doing other things. The Love Island final is tomorrow. As of me uploading this, hopefully that's today. I would like to actually get this uploaded on the Monday morning before the final so I can actually remain relevant. And this whole thing hasn't been a waste of time. I'm almost finished with Camilla Thurlow's book. Started reading a little bit of Ovi's book, and he uses the word dope like so many times. Like, I understand the book is called You Are Dope, but like it's been used in an excessive amount. So I've read the first like 60 pages of it, and it's kind of what I expected it to be. It's just kind of like motivational. I imagine like young men reading this, particularly like young black men, would get a lot of value for it. Like, I'm very aware I'm not the target demographic for this, and that's fine. So I'm going to finish reading both of them now. I'm going to have a proper reading session, and then maybe I'll have time to read some of Yowande's book this evening, potentially.
'Cause those hazard lights can't stop me. I just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from this high. Now with you, now with you, that I get when looking down from this high.
Okay, so slightly annoying thing about this book are these kind of like dope lesson sections, and most of them are fine, but I just find it slightly annoying when they kind of interrupt the main body of the text. So this is like mid-sentence, so you're meant to obviously turn the page and keep reading, but then you've got this dope lesson here, and it's something that I find slightly irritating with this style of book. Something that I think is really cool about the book, however, are the kind of sections where you're encouraged to like really actively participate in the lessons that you're being taught about kind of believing in yourself and setting goals and self-confidence. I haven't been making notes myself. I've been taking time to kind of stop and think about the questions that are being prompted to me, but I didn't want to fill it in the actual book because I probably will unhaul this. Like I said, I'm not really the target demographic for it, and I would like to donate it somewhere where it can reach someone who's going to really benefit from it and be able to get the full experience of really participating in what Ovi's trying to get across to the reader. Around halfway through the book now, I do need to pause and get myself some dinner though. Okay, so it is now the night time. I finished reading both Camilla and Ovi's books. I don't really have too many more thoughts on Ovi's book. I would really recommend it for like young men, particularly like sort of like Black teenagers. Maybe if there's someone in your life who has read Marcus Rashford's non-fiction books but are maybe find those a little bit young. Camilla's book I think is just absolutely fantastic, and on reflection, I'm really surprised that this wasn't one of my favorite books in the year that I read it. Maybe it was just a really fantastic reading year when I read it, but totally stands up as a reread. I got so much value out of it on a reread. I do think the second half of the book is weaker than the first half, or at least it was less interesting to me. So I found her kind of sharing her experiences of Love Island and also her experiences after Love Island less interesting. I do wonder if that's potentially because, in contrast to molly-mae, I watched molly-mae's season of Love Island as it came out, whereas I didn't watch Camilla's season as it came out. I got into Love Island the year after and then ended up going back and binging the season that Camilla was on. But everything she shared about her career prior to Love Island and a lot of the things that she shared about her upbringing were things that kind of resonated with me, even though we've lived extremely different lives in many different ways. I think a lot of the pressures that she put on herself were things that I could empathize with. Anyway, this evening has kind of got away from me because the Women's Euros final was on, and I'm very much like, will support any team but England for, you know, obvious colonial reasons, and kind of because it's funny because English people tend to react so negatively to that. But I absolutely love football. I've loved football my whole life. I'm really passionate about women's sport. I didn't really know how into the final I would get because of those kind of two contrasting feelings, but by the end of it I was just in floods of tears and I had to deal with that. It just meant so much to see like all the young girls in the crowd and knowing that it was a good space for them and a space where they felt hopeful and belief and felt the excitement that they deserve to feel when it comes to live sport. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I will get emotional again, but I then edited like the part of the video you've seen so far and the night has kind of got away from me. It's almost 10 o'clock and I haven't started reading Yuande's book, but I think I can certainly get a couple of essays read before I go to sleep.
Sunset lights can't stop me. I'll just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky.
So, this book is fantastic. I have read the first 80 or so pages, which is the first 3 essays, and I found each of them so thought-provoking. The first essay is about how important Yuande's name is to her and how much of a microaggression it is on the numerous occasions where people have failed to pronounce or refused to pronounce her name properly. And she doesn't go into this particular story in the book, or at least so far. But I think reading that essay in the context of knowing the story about a fellow islander refusing to pronounce her name is really powerful. The second essay is about colorism, and the third essay is about body image, particularly in relation to Black women's bodies and the fetishization of them. I'm just finding these essays really thoughtful and I'm really connecting with them, I think, particularly because Yuande is Irish, so a lot of the experiences that she's sharing, particularly from her childhood, are things that happened in Ireland. And I think so often the country is painted as this kind of accepting utopia free of prejudice, when actually Yuande has faced a huge number of microaggressions and racial prejudice throughout her life in Ireland. Something I think we're quite aware of every March when it comes around to the Irish Readathon is how overwhelmingly white Irish literature is. And while we do have recommendations for books that you can read by Irish people of colour, it's so great to see more of these books coming out now, and I highly recommend this one. I'm probably not going to read more of it tonight because I'm just so tired, so I am going to start wrapping up this vlog here. I think while this started as a somewhat kind of, you know, frivolous reading vlog idea, it has given me a lot to think about in terms of the different circumstances to which Islanders re-enter the world into after they've been in the villa. For instance, Yuande talks about how she wasn't able to find representation or an agent from the list of representation that ITV gave her after the show because no one wanted to take on her because of her skin color or didn't have experience with seeking out opportunities for people like her. I think it's been well documented the really difficult experiences that people can go through after being in this show. And I think in reading these 5 books, although potentially Amber's book less so just because it is fiction, it's really given me an insight into how vastly different people's experiences can be after the show. And that's only within a stream of Islanders who have had the level of success where they've got a book deal. So, you know, imagine the different experiences that people have had who haven't gone down that route. So this has been quite an interesting reading experience, and thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I will be talking about this book more when I finished reading it. I'm going to finish reading it tomorrow morning because I'm certain that I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 5-star read for me just based on the first 3 essays. So I will be sharing more of my thoughts on this in my July reading wrap up. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you want to hear more about this one. All of the books that I've read in this reading vlog will be linked down below in the description if you want to find out more about them. If you're watching this on the day it's uploaded, let me know down in the comments who you want to win Love Island. And if you don't have anything in particular you want to say, leave me an island emoji. I'm pretty sure there's an island emoji.
or leave me a love heart emoji. That is it for me today. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will speak to you in my next video.